Kia ora everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Anna Knight and I will be hosting. Today our webinar is presented by Mark Brook, who will take us through Komatsu Smart Construction Retrofit, a new era in 3D machine guidance. But before I hand over to Mark, just a few housekeeping items. For any issues relating to connectivity, you can contact myself by clicking on the balloon symbol on the bottom menu, which opens up the chat box. Then you select the host and type your query. On your screen, you'll see the presentation, and to the right is the control panel where you can ask questions in the Q&A box. Make sure that you select the host when you send your questions through. If you cannot find the Q&A section on the right panel, you can select it at the bottom screen by clicking on the three dots and the Q&A tab will appear. You're able to type any questions along the way in the questions box on the control panel. And at the end of the presentation, we'll run through these questions raised. If we run out of time, questions will be answered offline afterward and we will send through an email with these Q&A. Throughout the presentation, everyone is muted by design. There will be a survey that will pop up after this webinar, so please take a minute to give us your feedback. This webinar will be recorded and available on our website afterwards. And with that, I hand over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everyone. My name is Mark, and I'd like to welcome everyone today to the webinar session where we will be discussing the latest generation of 3D guidance, 3D GPS guidance technology from Komatsu Smart Construction. We refer to it as Retrofit Kit, or RFK for short. We'll discuss the key benefits of the system, including some differentiators between this product and our IMC product. Whether you're familiar with this type of technology in your existing operations or you're attending today's session to find out what our technology can do to improve your current workflows, I'll be showcasing what Komatsu is doing to make this technology more functional and accessible than other aftermarket product offerings on the market today. Here's a quick overview of the key topics that we'll be covering in today's session, and we'll be finishing with a Q&A. Please feel free to send your questions in throughout the presentation, and we'll do our best to address them at the end. Sharing a snapshot of my career, I'm passionate about how technology can help solve the challenges of our industry, and I've been in the earth-moving space for my whole career doing this, working for various technology manufacturers, and was also an end user responsible for looking after a large fleet of survey and machine control systems across hundreds of civil and mining projects. So I believe that this mixed experience helps me to understand a lot of the frustration that some users have in adopting the technology into their fleet, and also being rewarded with the benefits once they do. My position with Komatsu as a technology consultant involves product development, testing, product management for smart construction to ensure that these products meet the requirements and expectations for Australia and New Zealand markets. Now that the introduction is over, I'm going to switch off my camera and I'll turn it back on for the Q&A session at the end. Understandably, as the name Retrofit Kit is a fairly generic term, I'd like to start by simply defining what the product actually is at a high-level summary, and then we'll explain some of these features in more detail. You can see the operator's interface on the left-hand side with arrows indicating the direction of information flow. The operator is able to use this interface to dig to the digital plans as you'd expect out of any 3D guidance system, but that only forms a part of the total solution. From obtaining and collecting data on the machine itself, we're able to provide a history of payload reporting as well as 3D as-built data directly to the server for visualization and processing. Using Smart Construction Pilot Web and Smart Construction Remote applications, we're also able to remotely access the machine for support when required, as well as convert and transfer design data directly from the office straight to the machine. First and foremost, the system is a fully functional 3D GNSS guidance system, or GPS system, allowing the operator to visually dig to both 2D and 3D line work and 3D surface plans, replacing paper plans, pegs, and string lines in most applications. Secondly, the system also supports an integrated payload monitoring and reporting system that can help users to load and track material more effectively. The remote management tools allow for remote viewing and controlling the display when required, and importantly, as I previously mentioned, able to convert and the design data from some common formats, including TopCon, Trimble, AutoCAD. We're able to send them directly to the display with the included mobile modem. Lastly, a modern feature that is becoming far more commonly requested now is the ability for the system to be able to report on as constructed data throughout the day's operation, which can be loaded into our data visualization and reporting product called Smart Construction Dashboard, or it can also be exported as raw data for digital twin type applications. Now we're going to drill down into the features, kicking off with the 3D guidance functionality. So those in here that have used machine control and guidance technology in the past will already be familiar with most of the benefits listed on this page. And whilst the fundamental of 3D guidance, benefits of 3D guidance are shared across the board with Komatsu's IMC, as well as competitor solutions, Smart Construction Retrofit can provide these benefits at a price point where the time to get a complete return on your investment is greatly reduced. The Smart Construction Retrofit systems put the 3D digitalized plans at the operator's fingertips. This allows the operator to get clear and real-time feedback of the machine's position, or more importantly, the cutting-edge position, against the digital surface and line work. Whilst the control system like IMC will provide automatic hydraulic protection against things like over-digging, the Smart Construction Retrofit system provides visual or audible indication to the operator, which still substantially reduces the risk of over-digging and needing to carry out any rework. It also reduces the material and haulage costs. A big cost saving that is a lot easier to measure is the system's ability to significantly reduce the survey costs on site, with a large portion of the excavation works and trimming being able to be carried out without the use of pegs, paint, and string lines, with the use of the RFK system. Spend more time moving dirt and less time waiting for the surveyors to turn up on site. The increased productivity benefit also results in less fuel consumption, making sure that the fuel is only being burnt for productive tasks and reducing emissions, output, and carbon footprint, of course. By providing all this information directly to the excavator operator, we can also complete jobs quicker and safer by eliminating the need for any grade checkers working around the operational machinery. We see the payload management system as a critical value add to supplement the 3D guidance system, especially at this price point. The integrated payload system on Retrofit Kit results in less cab clutter by displaying all the payload functions on the same user interface as the 3D guidance. The payload system is a dynamic material loading system that uses hydraulic pressure sensors as well as the IMU sensors on the arm to calculate and display per bucket and per vehicle weights, ensuring that whole vehicles are being loaded to their full potential every load cycle. Later in the presentation, I've got a little short video that will demonstrate the use of the payload system. Smart Construction Retrofit Kit features a remote management interface called Smart Construction Pilot Web. This tool can be accessed via any browser like that on a PC or mobile device, or actually even on the Retrofit tablet itself. It essentially actively syncs updated information from the controller, such as calibration information for things like the attachments, machine measurements. It also logs system error codes, construction history, as-built data, or any points that are manually saved by the operator. It syncs those directly from the machine to the server automatically. But the most common use of Smart Construction Pilot Web is actually to upload and convert the project file data, usually the engineered 3D surface and line work, which can then be either downloaded from the application and put onto a USB drive and loaded into the machine as a traditional sort of way. But alternatively, a powerful feature here is the ability to send the data directly to the tablet, from the web app. And once that data gets received by the tablet, the operator will get a notification to say that new design data has been received. Would they like to switch to a new project, to which they can acknowledge yes or no. When working in busy environments, this feature is key to ensure that the most current design data is available and being used to prevent the risk of mistakes or delays. We have quite a number of IMC customers out there utilising our industry-leading as-built collection capabilities with that product, all of which are very happy with the data and benefit that this solution provides, but previously this was limited to IMC machines only. With the introduction of the Smart Construction Retrofit Kit, users are able to enable the collection of construction history or as-built data from any machine that's fitted with the retrofit kit. This data can be essential to reducing survey and planning costs during the construction phase. Smart Construction Dashboard is a powerful tool that will be on showcase in our next webinar in this series. But if you already have an existing digital twin application in mind, the data can be exported directly out of Smart Construction Pilot Web in like a CSV format. Smart Construction Dashboard is our cloud-based site virtualization tool that can be used for tracking construction progress by comparing engineered design data against real-world data through the use of like traditional surveying methods, drone surveys, and in this case, machine as-built data collection. Our next webinar will focus on Smart Construction Dashboard in greater detail, but in summary, the retrofit kit will allow non-IMC and non-Komatsu machines to track progress information, which can automatically be sent directly from their machines to the server. Smart Construction Dashboard is not included in the base price of retrofit, but if you're interested in this type of data visibility, get in contact with our team and we can sort something out for you. So a lot of people ask us, right, what is the difference between IMC and the retrofit kit? Well, the core difference between these two systems is that the integration portion of the IMC solution allows it to be what's referred to as a machine control system, capable of controlling the hydraulics of the machine to provide various assistance features to the operator. Whereas our retrofit kit behaves more like a traditional excavator guidance system, where the operator remains in control of the machine and cuts to grade using visual or audible indicators. The IMC system uses factory integrated components such as cylinder positioning sensors, and therefore is only available on very specific machine models. Whereas the retrofit kit uses bolt-on aftermarket components, and as such, it's able to be installed onto a larger variety of machine types, makes, and models. It's important to understand that both products have their place at various phases of the construction project. And contractors that experience difficulty in obtaining skilled labor, such as with the ability to trim effectively to tight tolerances, may benefit from an IMC control system. But the retrofit kit will provide accuracy that's identical to that of an IMC system, just requiring manual operator input. So based on the previous slide, you might start to wonder, well, why would Komatsu get involved in making a 3D guidance system when we already have factory integrated options available? Well, the answer is quite simple. As we continue to progress into the digitalization of the construction industry, we've identified that as much as we would like every machine on site to be Komatsu yellow, mixed fleets are here to stay, and Komatsu recognizes this. So in turn, we've developed a system that allows contractors to achieve huge digitalization benefits that were previously only available on Komatsu IMC machines across their entire excavator fleet. The chart on the right-hand side shows the path to complete digitalized construction, or essentially the construction side of the future. Some of the benefits involved in digital construction include productivity, safety, and environmental, essentially allowing jobs to be completed quicker and with less resource requirement. So what is digital construction? Well, to summarize, it's an evolving shift, right, from traditional construction practices towards a more sustainable and modern practices seen across other industries. For example, in construction and particular earth moving, we've often lagged behind other industries such as manufacturing, logistics, and so forth when it comes to innovation and acceptance of new technologies and processes. On this slide, you can see where retrofit fits into the equation during the execution stages of a project through to finalization, allowing operators to complete their work more effectively while being able to provide up-to-date progress reports through the as-built data reporting functionality. If it all sounds a bit complicated, well, truthfully it is, but smart construction provides simplified solutions to complex problems. The benefits of smart construction products and ecosystems were discussed in detail in the first webinar in this series presented by Aaron Marsh. So if you're interested in getting a glimpse into what the future of construction will look like, check out that earlier webinar. Now we'll move on to an overview of new and used Komatsu machines that can be fitted with our smart construction retrofit system at special promotional pricing. The system is also designed to be installed onto various other machine manufacturers, and this Komatsu model sizing chart shows where the product is currently available in Australia and New Zealand. As a general rule of thumb, we're supporting installations from 13-ton up to 36-ton class machines, but we will be expanding installation options to include larger bulk earth moving excavators, smaller utility excavators, and other machine brands in the near future. The payload monitoring function is available on all current Komatsu models shown in this slide. Smart Construction RFK system utilizes high accuracy tested and proven components to achieve cutting edge accuracy for a fraction of the cost of market competitors. The image on this slide shows an overview of roughly where the components of the RFK system are fitted onto the machine. Some attendees might be familiar, with using 2D or laser guidance for their excavating. And whilst laser grading system can provide benefits in some applications, the flexibility and convenience of a 3D GNSS system can be worth its weight in gold. By using the high accuracy GNSS signals to the antennas mounted at the rear of the machine's able to freely move around the job site with accurate cut fill leveling guidance without needing to constantly rebench or recreate the slope or design. And while a connection to a base station via radio or cellular signal is still required, generally the risk of damage or theft to external supporting hardware such as lasers is mostly eliminated. The high accuracy RTK position is then projected down the boom to the cutting edge using the high-speed IMU sensors, which account for the varying arm position, meaning that your cut fill values will be accurate with the machine positioned essentially anywhere within practical and safe operation, of course. The IMU sensor data and GNSS signal data are processed on the controller unit, which can be located outside the cab because it uses Wi-Fi to communicate. This significantly reduces the risk of cable damage causing downtime and also decluttering the cab as much as possible. The GNSS receiver is capable of tracking all the common constellations available: American, Russian, European, Chinese, Japanese satellites, all available at no extra cost. Lastly, on the hardware side, but importantly, we have the operator's in-cab display, which is actually just a ruggedized Android tablet device. The tablet device was selected for a few reasons. First of all, ease of use. Most people are familiar with operating smartphones. This solution provides a very similar look and feel to most operators, which reduces the training time for the hardware itself so that operators can focus their attention to learning the software functions. The tablet also has the added benefit of communicating wirelessly to the rest of the system, which means the tablet can easily be removed at the end of shift and data can be loaded directly into the tablet back at the office if required. It has good brightness for in-cab visibility and internal speakers, which can be used for audible grade tones. Another benefit, which isn't actually often mentioned, is that the replacement cost of the Android rugged display is about 1/10 of that of some market competitors, meaning that when accidents happen, like theft or vandalism, you're left far less out of pocket to get back up and running again. It is, of course, a rugged device, but believe me when I say that no screen will survive being run over by excavator tracks. I've seen it happen too many times, unfortunately. So as great as all the hardware may sound, no system is complete without an easy-to-use, reliable user interface for the operator to work from. In fact, as the competitive landscape in the 3D machine guidance market continues to heat up, the software usability and features are what operators are becoming drawn towards the most. You want software that has a short learning curve, powerful but easy to use functions, and easy to access these functions without having to scroll through menu after menu. Technology utilization has a direct relationship to the usability of the software. So Komatsu and Smart Construction have put a lot of effort in here to the design of the user interface. I won't spend too much time going through all these functions and features one by one, but the main thing to note from this slide is that the most common features and functions required from an operator when using the system is actually within one button press of the main screen. Too many menus and options and features creates a lot of confusion, and in some cases actually causes hesitation in adopting and using the technology. For those wondering, we do offer the ability to show the payload system in full screen, also the ability to remove the payload pane from the 3D guidance screen, which results in larger and easier to read interfaces depending on the task at hand. It's very easy to switch between these display modes with just a single button shortcut on the main screen. The colors of the line work and the surface can also be changed in the project settings, and the line work can be colorized as per standard survey set out color codes. It can also be viewed in 3D, which can be useful for mapping underground utilities. You can see on the right-hand side, there's an example of a dual screen view with a cross-section up the top and profile view down the bottom. The cross-section view features left and right cut-fill light bars, left and right cutting-edge light bars, which can be scaled in size to make it for easier viewing. The cut-fill information is displayed clearly for the left and the right side bucket edge on cross-section view, but also in larger text in the middle of the screen with an up or down arrow indicator. The surface can be offset either directly vertical or perpendicular to the design surface and will depend on the application. Surface offsets are often used to avoid using multiple surface layers for tasks like boxing out roads, removing topsoil, and so forth. And the vertical offset moves the design surface up or down according to the operator's specifications. This quick video demonstrates how the payload system can track bucket and truck loads on the same interface. In the middle of the screen, there is a vehicle or truck selector. Just tap the name of the vehicle and the target weight will be updated and shown on the left-hand lower side of the truck weight meter. Sorry. The right-hand meter shows the individual bucket weight against maximum weight capacity of the bucket, and these parameters can be defined in the settings menu. As the boom is lifted, the bucket weight is calculated, and once the load is tipped off, the system will automatically register that bucket load to that vehicle. The payload information is then uploaded to Smart Construction Fleet Lite server as soon as the vehicle load is finalized using the stop button. Using the Smart Construction Fleet Lite app, the vehicle weights are able to be displayed directly on the interface, on the web interface that is, or they can be downloaded into a simple CSV format for import into any third-party applications if required. The data, of course, can be filtered and sorted by the parameters shown in those overlays. The screenshot might be a little bit hard to see on the presentation, but the Smart Construction Fleet Lite app is very easy to use and can also be used to configure the truck parameters, which then get synced from the web app to the operator's tablet. We have a few additional hardware options available for RFK at the moment, and these items are at additional cost on top of the base machine kit. The UHF radio option is required for any machines running off a local base station running a UHF radio. The base system will support network corrections only, and if you need a radio, you'll need to include this option. If you don't know if you need a radio, the supervisor or the survey team on site should be able to provide some advice here. It will save you a few $1,000s if you don't need it, but I'd usually recommend getting this option as standard if your machine tends to move around a lot. The tilt bucket and tilt hitch kits are additional IMU sensor, cabling, and bracketry that are required to obtain the accurate cutting edge position when tilting the bucket. This will ensure your bucket position is always on the money for slope and batter work. We also have a few more features and extras in development pipeline, which I'm very excited for. Keep an eye out on our website or social media for any announcements on these. If you're completely new to this technology side, it's definitely a lot to take in. But with Smart Construction Solutions, we try to make everything as simple and intuitive as possible. To get a high precision position, you'll need to connect to a base station, whether it be via the UHF radio option that we just discussed, or using an N-trip network. If you don't know where to start, our team can help point you in the right direction when it comes to base station connectivity. You'll also need some machine-ready design data, which usually comes in the raw form of like AutoCAD data, and preferably the excess detail should be removed from these design plans, things like excess landscaping information and irrelevant line work, just to try and clear things up for the operator a little bit. The design data will also be made in a specific coordinate system, which must be known. We support most common projections and geoids, and we can also convert TopCon and Trimble localization files for use when required. At a bare minimum, if you're connected to a base station, you're able to create flat and sloping plane surfaces, using the bucket position as a reference point. This is very useful for completing tasks where the engineered design data may not yet be available. If you're looking at the slide and you're new to the technology and you're thinking this is way too complicated, where do I even begin? This is why we include 12 months of gold phone support through our dedicated Smart Construction Support Centre on all RFK system purchases. We're here to help, and we have some absolute wizards on the phones that can help support you when you need it the most. The system is designed to integrate seamlessly into existing sites, providing that the sites are following industry standard practices. We support the global standard correction format RTCM3 and its variants, and very soon we'll be introducing CMR and CMR Plus support for legacy sites that are running this old format. For the design plans, we can take raw AutoCAD data format as well as common competitor data sets from the likes of Topcon Trimble and easily convert these for use with Retrofit through the web app. The Satel UHF radio option that we discussed earlier is by far the best in the industry option for base station connectivity and compatibility across the board. But technically, the system will support any radio with a serial output. So if 900 megahertz is required for your site, our team can help you get up and running. As part of our commitment to providing the best aftermarket product support for our customers, our team visited Brett Evans in the Hidden Valley Estate in North Queensland. Brett purchased a used PC200-8 fitted with Retrofit kit and was one of our initial customers to commit to the technology investment of our Retrofit kit in this region. More than 6 months after taking delivery of the machine, let's hear what Brett has to say.
Hi, my name's Brett Evans. I'm from Hidden Valley Estate, and we're up here with our PC200 in the heart of the Whitsundays. So Hidden Valley is a rural residential subdivision located between Airlie Beach and Proserpine. We've been planning this estate for the last 20 years, with our first stage developed in 2019. We made the decision to form our own construction team so that we could build the stages ourselves, and we purchased the PC200 with the Retrofit GPS, which formed part of our fleet. The features of Hidden Valley is it adjoins Conway National Park, which has its own constraints, being the terrain and the vegetation. Having one of the oldest fig trees in Australia, it's in our best interest to look after not just a national park, but our estate, and having the PC200, the Retrofit GPS kit, enables us to have the confidence and a level of accuracy that we can construct in these areas without requiring a full-time surveyor on site. We are quite remote out here, but from when we fire up the machine in the morning, the system's ready to go. Having the Smart Construction Retrofit allows our operators to achieve millimetre accuracy in all parts of our operation, including trimming, positioning and benching. The PC200 is the perfect machine to us to tackle site cuts, drainage, access roads and a wide range of other unique works within our estate. Having the PC200 with the Smart Construction Retrofit allows us to run a small crew without having to have string lines, pegs and other survey requirements that can all be done from the machine. The main benefit with this system is time. From the auto tip-off feature when loading trucks, productivity, efficiencies, and in an area where we do have poor service, the connectivity is always great. We've chosen the Komatsu for its reliability, but in the rare instance where we do have issues, we know that we've got the support from our local Komatsu team, and the machine has the ability for the Komatsu team to log in remotely to identify and address any issues that we could have. I know our team can pick up the phone anytime and speak to someone from Komatsu who understands the machine and can help us work through the issues so we're back operating as quickly as we can be. We've had Komatsus for over 20 years. The reliability of the machines and the support we've always had from Komatsu made the decision to purchase the PC200 for this project a no-brainer.
Before we wrap up the presentation and head to a Q&A, I'd like to speak on some additional benefits that are not necessarily mentioned on any brochures. Firstly, even at this price point, we are able to utilize quality components. And because the system is globally backed by Komatsu's parts and service network, we can support this technology anywhere our machines go. Our branch and field service technicians are constantly undergoing additional training to supplement our technology product offerings, meaning that we can actually be much more effective at resolving issues than a lot of our competitors in this space due to our support footprint. Our nationwide parts and service network will ensure that your investment into this technology doesn't lead to excessive travel costs and wait times just to get to assistance where you need it. Secondly, with one of Komatsu's core values, which actually coincides with what you see in our machines, is our commitment to push the boundaries on what's possible by taking our customers' voice on features and functions that can make their life easier. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but we also offer the best technology support network in the industry, consisting of technology advisors and our smart construction support call center. Don't be left in the dark. Reach out and let our Komatsu technology advisors help. I believe that these three factors and everything covered early in the presentation demonstrates why Komatsu's Smart Construction Retrofit Kit is a worthy consideration for your next technology investment. A simple discussion with a Komatsu sales team member or a smart construction team member will help you to understand some of the difficulties you face and how some of our products and solutions can help address them and improve your bottom line. For anyone that's attending Diesel Dirt and Turf this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Sydney Dragway, Eastern Creek, you'll be able to get a hands-on demonstration of the RFK product, as well as other smart construction solutions. If you aren't heading to DDT, we have a number of Komatsu rental and other demo machines throughout Australia and New Zealand fitted with our RFK system, and our team will be happy to arrange a walk-around demonstration or a remote demonstration, whatever suits you. Just reach out to your local rep and we'll go from there. So that concludes the main portion of our presentation for today. I'll switch my camera back on in a second and we'll head back to Anna for some questions.
Thank you, Mark. Just before, so now we're going to move to the Q&A session and begin answering the questions you have posted during today's presentation. Just as a reminder, you can still submit your questions through the questions panel or the questions symbol on the bottom right hand of your screen. So our first question I've got for you that has come through is, a lot of the features you mentioned require internet connectivity. Is a modem supplied or a SIM card? And how does the system function in areas that have no mobile coverage?
Okay, that's a good question. So yes, the modem is included. It comes in the base price of the RFK system. It includes a SIM card for the first 12 months in any region. And then after that period, you can either choose to extend your support contract, which can include the SIM card data, or you can provide your own SIM card data. That's up to you. A lot of the features, that's right, a lot of the cloud-based features do depend on a reliable internet connection or just a internet connection, some of them. And whilst the system can log and store data when it's operating outside of connected areas, if the systems are operating in areas that never have any connectivity, some of the data can be downloaded from the tablet itself, but some of the other data, you will lose a little bit of functionality if you're operating in areas with no coverage whatsoever. But the system will still operate in the 3D guidance mode as any other standalone system would. It's mainly the payload reporting and all that sort of stuff that you end up losing a little bit of functions from.
Thanks for that. Another question I have here is, where is the product actually made?
Oh, that's a good question. So the product is definitely, it's designed by Komatsu through a company that's owned by Komatsu in Japan. So all the development is done in Japan, and the voice of all the regions, so the voice of what we call the voice of customer, as well as the voice of the region, we provide feedback directly to Japan when it comes to things like software and hardware development. So it's essentially a Japanese product, just like the rest of our machines.
Cool. So a few questions have come in about pricing. So I'll just kind of summarize. You've mentioned pricing. What is it? And what's the kind of minimum amount and the price range both for New Zealand and Australia?
Okay, so this question, of course, I knew this question would be asked. So the pricing, it does depend on a few different things, right? Depends on the machine model, depends on the options that you've selected. What I can say is that having a lot of experience in this industry, I know that with all the options included on our system, the RFK system is by far at a better price point than any other system on the market today. I can confidently say that. And it also represents a better value as well, because it includes things like that payload system in a lot of cases, which is actually an added extra. One of our competitors, or our only other competitor really, that offers the same type of functionality with the 3D guidance and the payload system in the one combined unit, we're about a third of the price of that system. Now, we haven't really cut to any quality out of the equation to get our price to this point. You'll see, I don't know whether you saw in some of the in the video and the photos in the presentation, but the quality of the things like the cabling and the brackets and the controller components and the antennas, it's all very high quality components. We've been able to save costs on things like the fact that we're a global company, so we have a global logistics where our logistics costs are greatly reduced compared to some of our competitors. We've also saved costs in some areas that we've identified, such as the tablet device inside the cab, where we can save our customers a bit of money there and give them something that does the job.
Awesome. Okay. Another one we've got here, actually, we've got a couple around the subscription. So is there an ongoing subscription to keep the software active? And then can you explain the pricing structure in more detail around this?
Okay. So the system itself, at the moment in Australia, and the way that we're marketing it in Australia is that it is a standalone system. So you can include it in your machine finance if it's on a newer used machine as an upfront cost, or you can obviously pay for it aftermarket for an aftermarket machine. It is an upfront cost. So the system does function completely in standalone. There's no required subscription. However, the cloud functions and the reporting, that like the payload reporting functions and the design conversion functions and stuff like that, that service, the SC Pilot web service, does have a subscription cost with it. It's $360 per year, and we include 2 years of that with every system sale. Then after 2 years, it'll be $360 a year. Now, you don't need that subscription for the system to keep operating in standalone mode. You just got to go back to manual practices of loading data manually and all that sort of thing. So we do heavily recommend paying that. We think that 360 is quite a good value for what you get out of that subscription. Now, in terms of other subscriptions, we do have our support subscriptions, which is, once again, it's optional. You can provide your own SIM card data, and if you feel like you don't need the support, then that's entirely up to you. But our support team is available to assist with any help that you may need. So there's a subscription involved with that. You should be able to see some more information about that on our Smart Construction Support or remote pages on our website. And also there's a subscription that people often get for like a network RTK correction. So like a base station correction service using the cellular network or mobile network. So that is obviously a separate subscription as well. But if you're running off local base station hardware that's been provided by the site, then you don't need that subscription. So the short answer is you don't need subscriptions, but there's different subscriptions for different software functions.
Awesome, thanks for that. Another question I have here, you say you have local experts, but is this local only in Australia?
Okay, so we have the Smart Construction Support call centre. We have based in Australia on the east and west coast of Australia. And we also have local experts in every region. So North and South Island and New Zealand, we've got covered. And then every state in Australia, we've got covered with basically industry experts that can provide assistance, attend site if need be, help you with training purposes when you first purchase a machine, and all that, and any ongoings and stuff like that. So we pretty much cover the whole Australia and New Zealand wide.
Okay, a question here is, do you support other machines outside of Komatsu?
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the presentation, the system is designed to be an OEM agnostic solution, so to be fit to any machine brand or make or model. At the moment, we are with Komatsu here in Australia. We're supporting the system sales on the Komatsu table that you saw earlier in the presentation, but we are actually carrying out testing, things like reliability and compatibility testing right now on some other third-party machines, and you can expect an announcement on the availability of these systems in the near future.
Thanks. Another one I think is quite similar to what you just asked there. When will I be able to get the system fitted to my non-Komatsu machine?
Yeah, so pretty much the same answer for that one. So we are looking at that sort of thing. The system is designed for that. So my suggestion is, if you're interested in that, then reach out to our team and we can provide some feedback on that.
Thanks. Another question here is, what is the accuracy of the weighing?
Yep, so you might have seen in the presentation, the payload system can't be trade certified. No excavator payload system currently can, and that's just due to the dynamic nature of the excavator weighing system, I believe. So much like other competitor systems on the market, where plus or minus 5% is our tolerance. We've done a lot of accuracy testing and achieved much better results than that, but that's our specification anyway, plus or minus 5%.
Okay, thank you. Another question here is, are the IMUs all wireless? And if not, how are they powered?
So the IMUs are cabled, which obviously, when you've got sensors on various parts of the pointy end of the machine, it can be, it puts those cables in sort of an element of risk, I suppose. So we protect our cables with hydraulic hosing where possible. We have good clamps that are used when going from moving parts of the arm to fixed parts of the arm and stuff like that. So it's a very high quality way that we're running the cabling for the system. So they're all powered from the controller unit that's mounted somewhere on the body of the machine. So the sensors themselves aren't wireless, but a lot of the rest of the components in the system are. The controller's wireless and the tablet is wireless.
Okay, another question I've got here, is there support for auto dig?
No, so we are, as I say, it's a machine guidance system. So we have no plans at the moment to support any auto functionalities with the system. We do have the IMC product to fill that gap if that's the type of functionality that you're chasing.
Okay, another one I've got here, is the product only available for excavators or is it available for dozers?
Okay, good question. So yeah, at the moment, it is definitely only available for excavators, but if having the product available on other machine types is something that you're interested in, I would keep an eye out for on our website and our socials for some what we might be doing in the future.
Okay, cool. I am, do you support the tilt rotators?
At the moment, we don't, but it is one of the features that I had on one of my previous slides that we're currently doing some developing and testing on tilt rotators. So that is something you can expect to see in the future. A time frame, can't put a time frame on it, but it's definitely something we're considering at the moment.
Okay, and then let me see if I can ask this one properly. How does a non-Komatsu machine talk to the dashboard? Would I need to run a Komatsu modem?
No, so essentially the whole RFK system is capable of collecting all of that data from a non-Komatsu machine. So it's essentially performing the same as-built collection data that an IMC system would by using the sensors and the antennas and all that sort of stuff. And it can provide that information directly to dashboard.
Okay, cool. We've got one here. You spoke about calibration files being converted. Do you convert design files from other brands?
Yeah, so our Smart Construction Pilot Web interface can convert Trimble files and TopCon files. Now, the Trimble files, because Trimble have a lot of different formats, a lot of different file formats. So not every single Trimble file format is supported, but most of the common ones that are used for machine control purposes can be converted using the Pilot Web app and either downloaded from the web app or sent directly to the machine. And also, yeah, TopCon TP3 files, sorry, it's just pretty much a 2 button presses and it'll convert it for use with RFK.
Okay, cool. Another question I have here is any limitations on the design file size?
Design file size, yes and no. Generally, we try to say that the design files do need to be optimized for use with machine control. So I do see every now and then design files come through that just have way too much detail in them than what should be loaded into the system. Like often it'll create confusion with the operators as to what lines are what and so forth. So there is no defined limit on the design file data size, but we do encourage best practices when it comes to creating the design files for machine control. So just giving the operator the data that they need.
Thanks, Mark. Another question that's come through here is, does it run a polyline system?
Yes, so it has it does support layers, polyline layers and lines. The colors of the lines are defined by the layer color at the moment rather than the polyline color. We are looking to make some changes to potentially support either or, so layer color or polyline color in the future. So I hope that answers your question, but yeah, we support line work, of course, yeah, polylines.
Okay, from the say, it says here, do you support different height layers in the same file?
Yep, yep, you can, in the project file settings, there's just a simple drop-down menu. It'll show every surface file that is as part of that design file, and you can easily it's about a 2 or 3 button presses from the main screen to be able to switch to a different surface layer.
Sorry, just going through, got a few more questions come here. Is weighing available without the guidance?
This is something that we're looking into at the moment. There's nothing really set in stone of this right now. I would say if it's something that you're looking at, then get in touch with us and we'll talk to you about it a bit more. But we're considering our options here, yes, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned, it's about the holistic approach to digital construction, right? So if that's something that will help contribute to that, then that's Smart Construction will make an effort to achieve it.
Okay, thank you. Another question has come through. Can you build a design inside the software like Trimble's in-field design?
Yep. So at the moment, we have the ability to create flat plane surfaces and dual and single sloping surfaces in the software. The in-field design capability of RFK is probably a little bit. There's a few more functions that we can probably add in there to allow for more customization of those surfaces. For example, you're essentially doing a surface, not a complex design. So that's something that we're looking at our options there for the future as well.
Thanks for that, Mark. So that concludes the questions that have come through so far in our webinar today. I want to say thank you everyone for attending, and we hope you enjoy the webinar. You will receive a survey on the presentation shortly, and would really appreciate if you would give us your feedback. An email will also come out hopefully within the next 24 hours where you're able to access the recording of this webinar. So thank you everyone for joining, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.